Hi guys and welcome back to the BFTV Show. This is your Fulham match review, guys, and before we do get into the video, please don't forget, as every week, to forget to like this video. Can we hit the 55 likes on this one, guys? We were so close on the last one. If we could hit that, it'd be superb. Don't forget to comment down below all of your positives from the game and also your improvements that we need to make over the international break, because I know that many of you will have your say on what needs to improve, what went well on Saturday and has gone well since the last international break, which has been 6 or 7 games, where it's been a bit inconsistent for Blues. And don't forget, if you haven't already, to subscribe to us. It'd be super duper if we can do that. We're going to try and hit 2,000 before Christmas. Very, very adventurous, but we're Blues, aren't we? We can do it. And if you haven't already, hit the notification bell. We're a little bit inconsistent with our uploads at the minute, so it will help you. If you've hit the notification bell, you'll let you know as long as YouTube are doing their part. So, coming up on this week's episode of the BFTV review, we have got all of the talking points from Saturday's game, including the goals. Are they drying up, and where do Blues need to change? Camp's mistake on Saturday, and again, is it time to change the goalkeeper for Blues? We also caught up with Chris and Mark for their after-match reviews as well, which we will catch in a little bit later towards the back end of the episode. And we've caught up with Emily for her match ratings from Saturday, guys. So a jam-packed Fulham review for you. Let's get straight into it. And thank you so much to our sponsors, Boyle Sports, for sponsoring this episode. If you haven't already, go and check them out. They're on all social media platforms. Don't forget, you must be 18 or over. Welcome back.
Hello.
So we'll just dive straight into it. No messing around. Wasn't the greatest result on Saturday, was it?
No, and I don't think actually going into it that we expected to lose. I think a draw would have been fair, but Fulham definitely had something different to us going forward. They actually could score a goal, even if it was a stupid Lee Camp mistake that allowed the goal to be. But I just think on Saturday we weren't at the races. We weren't playing like we did against Cardiff in the first 30 minutes. I think that's what we wanted everyone to replicate against Fulham, and we really could have taken the game to Fulham. We almost started the game in a way that wasn't excitable. It wasn't really the Blues that we've seen in the last few games. It was almost like we were not back to square one, but we weren't up for it, and it was a disappointing result. The game was a bit disappointing. There were lots of things that can be improved upon, but it's games like that against teams that are will be top of the league. I expect by the end of the season that you learn the most in. So
yeah, no, for sure. And I think if we look at the lineups very quickly, there was just the one change, wasn't there, from the team that lost to Cardiff but played so well in that. Obviously, the suspended Harley Dean, who's suspended for the next 3, comes out, and Jake Clarke-Salter came in for his home league debut. How do you think he fared?
I was very impressed, actually. I thought, if you caught our lineup predictions, I did predict Harding to be in there only because he'd played previously last season, but I think it was fair to give Jake Clarke-Salter a chance. Under 23s captain for England, if I'm not wrong. Yep. So very much a good signing for us in the summer on loan from Chelsea. I think he played really well. I don't think he put a foot wrong. I think he looked no worse than Harley Dean. I haven't been Dean's biggest fan this season, but I think that with the ball, Clarke-Salter looked very compact. He looked very on it. He didn't look like he was going to give the ball away. He was quite a safe choice, and I think that if we play him more, he'll become that reliable centre-back that we have been calling out for. Yeah,
I think that, like I said, I wanted him in. I wanted him all along. We signed him obviously from Chelsea, but he spent last season on loan at Vitesse in the Dutch league. Had an outstanding season for them in the Eredivisie, and had an amazing pass completion rate for a centre-back. I think it was
93% or something.
No, it was about 80% across the season. That's incredible to have. And obviously he's England's youth captain, or was. I don't know if he was in the summer. I don't understand the sort of, not negativity towards him, but the kind of doubts. I think that he played in a game where we lost to Brighton in pre-season, and it was a tricky one. It was a tricky game. And then he played with the kids at Portsmouth, where he didn't really, obviously didn't do himself any favours, but it was a tricky game. And then he came in at Wigan and did really well. So the one league game, I'd count the league game, he played really well.
I think what the issue is he with Blues, we're very much like a scapegoat. If Davis was in the team at the weekend, he would have been the scapegoat.
Yeah.
Even probably with Camp doing the mistake that he did. So I think Clarke-Salter, he was new, he was different to the side, and he was probably the one that was easiest to pick on because we know the least about. But I think every performance I've seen him in, personally, I've been impressed with. I think he hasn't really put a foot wrong. Maybe against Brighton he was a little bit shaky, but it was his first game at St Andrews. It's his first game for us, so I think it's fair to be a bit shaky to begin with. But I don't think he's done anything wrong. I think if anything he's done more things right than Dean. But however, he's played a lot less games, so I think that would be unfair to say that he's better than Dean. But I would like to see more of him. So
yeah, no, that's fair. Opening half, I think it was a dull affair without. It was a difficult one to explain where neither team really kind of grabbed the game by the scruff. I think the Blues maybe edged it. If we'd have gone ahead at half time, I don't think either side would have moaned too much. Obviously, we didn't batter them.
No.
They didn't create loads of opportunities. But obviously, it was a bit of a non-affair. The only thing that was at the end of the half was an altercation between Jude and Mitrovic. There wasn't much in that though. I didn't see it much. I asked Mark as well. Did he see much? I don't think anybody saw.
I didn't see anything. I mean, I saw Mitrovic go at Jude, as in sort of get in his face a little bit, but I think that was it. I think we sort of maybe overreacted a little bit because Jude is obviously 16. Mitrovic maybe didn't know that. Either way, I don't think there was too much in it. It was just an altercation between players. It happens, and it happens in heated games. So. Yeah,
and they both got a yellow card, which, again, I think probably was fair, to be honest. I think that there's a squabble. It happens. Get them booked. So, there's not much to take from the first half, but the second half, obviously, Blues really couldn't get going and were punished sort of around the hour mark.
Yeah.
Floated ball into the box. Should be dealt with by any keeper. And Lee Camp, where, like I've said again in the videos with Mark and with Chris, which you'll see a little bit later on, where it's the standard for keepers. They'll work on that in training. Yeah. They'll work on that before the game. They'll have floated crosses into the box where they're backing up and they need to catch it. He's not been challenged and he's fumbled it, and I think it's so disappointing that we've lost the game on that.
I think that what he was trying to do was play for the foul, and you should never do that in a game of football. There was a foul on Roberts, or arguably a foul on Roberts, and Camp obviously had taken his eye off the ball and expected the free kick, the foul to be given, and it wasn't, and he was a bit lacklustre with the save. Thing is, this season, he's done some incredible saves that have kept us in games, but then he does saves like that, and I think you get to the point where, as good as some of his saves are, that he honestly shouldn't be saving. It's the saves that he should be saving that he doesn't make.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the tale all season. And I think now, I don't know if you saw, I tweeted about, is it time really now to give Truman, Stockdale, who's back from injury, a chance, Ramos possibly not, or look for a new keeper. I think that was really the final nail in Camp's coffin at the weekend. It's
a difficult one though, because like you said, he's played for the foul, but even so, he should be catching that, and then the ref will give the foul. There's no excuse for it. There's nothing we can say to even half justify it. I don't
think we want to either, because what's the point?
Well, I love Camp as a character. He looks like a character. He looks like a bit of a leader on the pitch as well. You can see it. The boys respect him. But how many mistakes this season? He could have done better with the goal at Leeds. He should have saved the one at Wigan. That's cost us a point.
Yeah.
He's cost us a point on Saturday. He's cost us. I'm trying to think. He's cost us points in other games as well. And yeah, of course, he saved us points as well. Like he saved us a few times at Brentford in the opening day. He's saved us at times at Charlton. He's now losing us more points than he saves, and I think that's the thing that Blues fans are weighing up. But I don't want to weigh too much in on that, on the negative. It was a disappointing goal. Mitrovic being the pantomime villain. which he wanted to be at half time. I was worried when people were, geeing him up that he's going to score, he's going to come out and score, because that was his 12th goal of the season. He's going to score.
Yeah.
And he wanted that, so we played into his hands, really. But Bella came on, made his Blues debut, and I think, we've got to take the positives from it. He looked sharp.
Very impressed.
Yeah.
He looked like he wanted to play. Didn't see a lot of him. Obviously, it wasn't on for too long, and we were almost chasing the game at that point. However, him and Montero both being on the pitch together, I thought was electric. They managed to actually link up with Duke.
Yeah.
I think that was what was really important from Bella and Montero being on. Bella especially. The link-up play with Duke is something that hasn't been able to happen all season. Mm-hmm. There hasn't been anyone for Duke that has allowed him to be the player that he actually is. Yeah. We had 16 shots at the weekend, with only 4 being on target, in contrast to Fulham's 10 with 3. So really, if Bella can provide more chances for Duke, hopefully the goals will increase. But it's an iffy one. We've only got Duke, really.
Yeah.
So if Bella can create that, then I'm happy.
I think, again, like you say, Bella came on. Montero, again, I was going to touch on that, came on. He looked electric again, as we know. I think that somebody said the other day, made the perfect argument, that he can't start, though, Montero.
No.
Don't start him, because he needs to be that player that we have with 25, 30, 35 minutes to go, where he comes on and there's a few tired legs after an hour, and he burns past people. He really does.
He does.
And they're just not going to be able to handle him. But if you start him, you're worried that you get the injuries, etc. But he's going to be useful throughout the season, massively.
Yeah.
And again with Bella. But like I say, I'm going to touch on the goals, which is again another big issue that Blues created. 16 at the weekend, 25 at Cardiff. I think it was 21 against Luton.
Yeah.
I think it was against 17 against Blackburn.
It's a lot.
It's not. And you say, well, if they're going to supply more shots for Duke, more chances, I'm sorry, I'm going to stick my neck on the line for the first time on this channel and say, that's rubbish. That man has had enough chances and hasn't taken them. Now, I am Lukas Jukovic's biggest fan. Probably in terms of admiration on the pitch, bigger than you. He needs a rest. I'm sorry, but Blues are playing a way that doesn't suit him anymore.
I'm not going to argue with you about that, because I agree. However, I think from what we saw in the last 20 minutes against Fulham, we have only got Lukas Jukovic. Alvaro isn't proven yet. And if Bella and Montero can provide the types of crosses and opportunities that work for Lukas Jukovic, we need to be doing that now in the minutes where we need it.
But is he all we've got? You've got to think, Blues have got to think outside the box on this one. Is he all we've got? Bella has said that he can play down the middle and likes to play down the middle, so as a striker. Why not play 4-2-3-1 and play Bella down the middle, up top, on his own?
Yeah,
with
we had this the other day.
Vialba on the left, Crowley down in the middle. You could play Magoma on the right, you could play Montero on the right, you could play anyone on the right. You can play Crowley on the right, Marabti in behind.
No, I completely agree. But Pep's never going to do it.
Lukas Jukovic is the professional. He is a fantastic pro. He is still a massive asset to Birmingham City Football Club. He is still a player that we are going to rely on hugely. But we have to be brave, and if we're going to succeed, we have to tinker as well. And we have to say, right, it's clear that we've created 16 plus 25 plus 20 plus 20 again, for example. You're creating close to 75 shots in 4 games, and he scored one of those 75. You've got to say that we are giving him enough chances. And I'm not just having a go at him. I've said it in the preview. He's got to be helped out. Vialba wasted so many chances at Cardiff. He wasted a few against Luton. I don't think he had as many at the weekend, but certainly Luton and Cardiff, he was a big, he wasted a lot of chances as well, so he's a big culprit of that. Crowley needs to start chipping in. He hasn't scored this season, so he, as wonderful of a player as he is, he's not exempt from it. Yeah. They have to be chipping in with goals. But I'm thinking if we play with this electric pace up front and stretch teams with Bella, I think it adds a new dynamic, because I've said to you at the weekend, if that's not working, you bring Duke on.
Look, as much as I agree with you, and I echo your sentiments, because if you hadn't have mentioned it, then I probably would have said something along those lines. However, knowing the way that Pep is, he will not take Duke out that team.
But that's the problem. It's like
that is the problem.
It's like why,
however, that is where my argument comes in with Bella and Montero. Because I know for a fact, well, not for a fact, but I've said a few times I'd rather have Magoma in than Duke. It doesn't happen.
But if we play with Bella and Montero on the wings, aren't we just playing the same way we did last season? Just get the ball wide, cross the ball in and hit the target, man.
Yeah, but
that's
it worked.
Yeah, no. But that's Blues going back to old
No,
Blues.
I get it.
We're not that anymore.
No, we're not.
We've created more opportunities at Cardiff, Luton, Blackburn, when we're playing along the floor, into play, and we're knocking the ball around. The problem is we get in and around the box, we've got no movement in behind the lines, so these players are getting to these opportunities, waiting for the final ball, and don't have it, and they're thinking, okay, but when they do get the ball, or they do manage to hit the final third and create a good opportunity, for either Duke's wasteful, which against Luton he was massively wasteful, or he's not capable to get on the end of the chances, as in he doesn't have the mobility or the agility to get on the end of it, and that's my biggest issue, is that you play someone with speed up there like a Shea, which Bella isn't Shea but has that sort of speed and agility. Maybe he can get on the end of a few more, maybe he'll finish a few more, but that's me. I don't want to touch on it massively because we've already touched on it a lot already.
Look, the be all and end all is, if we play Lukas Jukovic, we're going to have to at some point play to his strengths, otherwise we're not going to score. And whether that means adapting the team or not, I don't know.
I just think that means we go backwards and all the work we've done to this point is wasted.
However, it depends on what the board and the team want to do. If they want to utilise Lukas Jukovic, then they're going to have to change slightly their midfield. Yeah. If not, they're going to have to take him out and stick someone else up there. That's it.
That's fair enough. If we're gonna end our little bit on a match rating, I want your match ratings. Okay, so I'll give mine first. So Camp for me doesn't get any. He gets a 4 from me, and I think I'm being generous. I'm trying to be. It was one mistake, but that one mistake was costly, so no higher than a 4. Collan 6. Roberts 6.5. Salter 7. Pedersen 6.5. Sunjic 6.5, Bellingham 6, Crowley 6, Vialba 6, Morabti 6.5, Duke 6. Everybody played on the average. A lot of players that couldn't get into the game.
Okay. Camp 4, Collan 6. All the back four would give a 6 really. Then Sunjic 6.5, Bellingham 6, Crowley 6.5, Vialba 6, Morabti 6.5, and Duke I'd give a 5.5.
Okay, that's fair enough. So guys, as we are going to look to do things slightly differently on these match reviews, we have had the pleasure of talking to Mark and Chris about their thoughts after the game, and here is what Mark had to say.
Mark, it was pretty disappointing on Saturday. We don't often get beat at home.
No,
that was pretty frustrating. What was your thoughts on the game?
Frustrating is the key word, really. I mean, Fulham are ex-Premier League, aren't they? So you can't really give us too much of a kicking for that. I mean, you can kick Camp as much as you want, to be honest. But yeah, it is what it is. Again, if you look at the predicament we were in at the start of the season, we'd be looking at losing these games anyway, like games against Fulham. We'd be looking at losing that regardless. I think it's only the fact that we've been playing really well recently that this Fulham loss seems a disappointment.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily feel angry or anything, or like we're not going to start calling for Pep's head now all of a sudden. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I thought we started pretty brightly. first 20, 25, we were okay.
Do you know, it was the same as the Cardiff game. We started well. The Fulham were just on the back foot for a good 20 minutes, and then we just let them back in. If we had a finisher, mate, we'd piss this league.
Yeah, I think we joke about it, but we genuinely would be in the top 6. There's no doubt.
I don't want to slag Djukovic off, but he's a relic. Relic is a harsh term, but he's a layover from the hit it and hoof days.
Yeah.
Now we're playing nice, fancy, tippy-tappy bollocks. He's not that type of person. He's the bloke who holds it up while Shay Adams dances around everyone.
Yeah.
We have Shay Adams, which means Duke is a bit redundant. I'm not saying we should drop him, but why are we taking Marabti off, who is a different player? Like, he's come out of nowhere from last season where he couldn't even get on the bench, and now is a starter for me.
Yeah.
Who knows how good Marabti and Alvaro play together? We're never going to see it, but that might be a winning formula, but we're never going to know because he refuses to take Djukovic off.
Yeah, he does. I mean, like we say, Duke huffs and puffs, and he did again on Saturday. He gives it his all. His hold-up play, you can't question.
No, you can't, no.
But do we need it? Do we even need his hold-up play at the minute, going into...
Not really, because we're not supposed to be doing this long ball anyway, so we shouldn't really need to be holding and winning the ball in the air, which, I mean, 9 times out of 10 he gets fouled anyway, so he doesn't actually win the ball regardless. Yeah. Or he does win the ball, and they get a free kick for... Oh, that's a battery.
What did you make of there was the scuffle, the end of the first half. Did you see it? Did you catch it? Yeah.
Ridiculous, to be honest. It's footballer fighting. It's not really a fight, is it? It's handbags.
I mean, some said he should have been sent off. Some said he raised his arm.
Yeah. If I'm honest, I didn't see it clear enough at the time.
No.
And I haven't watched it back because I've never watched the losses back. Should he have gone? Maybe. That's what Mitrovic does, doesn't he? That's his game.
Yeah.
I think if it was the other way around and Duke got sent off, we'd be saying that was a joke.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he swings and roundabouts.
It is really.
Yeah, and I noticed you sit by the tunnel. Did you give him some stick?
A little bit. No, he needed to know.
He was giving it Big Ten, weren't he, walking down?
Yeah, but again, that's what he does. That's what he wants, isn't it? Like giving him stick as he walks off is the same as applauding him. Like that's his applause.
Yeah, no, for sure. What did you make of the goal? I was fuming because I sit, me and you sit like directly opposite each other, and I saw it and I watched him as he fumbled it. He wasn't touched. I was saying, what are you moaning at?
These people saying that should have been a free kick, should have been a yellow card. Come on. He dropped the ball, realised he messed up, and threw himself to the ground.
Yeah.
Like there was no fouls there whatsoever. Then Mitrovic scoring a tap-in and running off like he's Ronaldo just scored a screaming free kick. He scored a tap-in against League Camp, mate. Wind your neck in a bit.
Yeah, it's no real achievement, but I think it's disappointing, and I think that we've defended Camp long enough now.
We have, and that's the point. Like, no, I don't want to suddenly turn around and go, Camp's crap, get rid of him, blah, 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 after trying to defend him for so long. But what I would say is, how much of a benefit of the doubt can you give someone? Because no one can knock the amount of benefit of the doubt we've given him, because we have tried. We have bloody tried. I've made so many excuses for him. Even today, I was making excuses for him.
Yeah.
Because, like I always say to you, he is the last position before it goes in. The ball's got past however many people first. If he makes a mistake, it's a goal. Whereas if Djukovic makes a mistake, no one thinks about it. Although I obviously have mentioned it earlier. But at some point, you have to go, you know what? This goalkeeper is not good enough. We haven't got a goal, or we haven't got a goal stopper.
Yeah, maybe even take him out, just for a game or two. Maybe you've got 3 in the wings. How long can you keep Truman or Ramos or Stockdale? It doesn't matter who it is. You've got those keepers for a reason in the backup. He makes this many mistakes at times. He's got to be dropped.
Truman wasn't rubbish those couple of games he appeared in.
Yeah.
Was it Truman or was it someone else? It was Truman, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Stars, yeah. He wasn't rubbish. Stockdale, last I saw him, was the size of a house. I would like to think he's probably lost that weight now. I don't know. Maybe he ate Truman. Who knows? And Ramos, I know nothing about. We've brought him over just to watch from the sidelines.
Yeah, I went to the Tamworth game in the 23s.
Yeah.
He didn't look too inspiring, should we say?
But then he's playing with a bunch of under 23s, and again, it's hard to tell, isn't it? Like it does seem daft that we brought him over just to enjoy a British winter. Lucky bloke.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one, but just obviously to kind of wrap it up, your overall thoughts going into the international break? Are you happy?
Yeah, for us, like we haven't really got any injuries that we know about that we need to get over, so we don't need the break for that reason. We're not on a terrible run of form, despite the last couple of results. I wouldn't say that's a run of bad form, so we don't need it for that reason. I suppose you could say it's coming at the wrong time for us.
Break, obviously, will pass. We've got the busy Christmas period. Where do you expect us to be come New Year's Day?
Probably the same place, more or less. Mid-table, there or thereabouts. We're not going to get a striker because, well, we physically can't, and I don't know if there's any free transfers out there like Bella that we can get in. Maybe Bella could provide some magic and be a bit of a goal scorer. I don't know. I haven't watched enough of him on YouTube or Googled his FIFA stats or looked at him on Football Manager yet, so I can't make glaring assumptions on Twitter like some people do.
No.
But the key for us is January.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper and striker. I mean, everywhere else on the pitch, we're laughing. I think we have got a depth of skill potentially.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Maybe not a depth of consistency, but the potential's there. But up front, I'd just try Marabtu and Alvaro. You never know. And in goal, just don't play anyone. Just play an extra outfield player. We'll just make up for the goals we concede.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I've had my say on who I should play up front. I wouldn't even play Alvaro, but that's my say. I don't think we need a physical man up front.
Why don't we play Jude up front? He's done it before. He can score. It's worth a try, is what I'm saying. It may not be the answer, but it's worth a try.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I've had my say in the review, and I think that there's many options that we need to be looking at now. I think that Pep knows that the biggest problem is goals, and we're not getting them. And it's the same with the goalkeeper. How long do we persist with Duke, Alvaro, before he makes a big change?
The only thing with Camp is at least we've got relative confidence in our back four. Whether you include Harley in that is debatable. But you've got confidence in Pedersen, Colin and Robert.
And also, we did manage to catch up with Chris after the game as well, and he gave his match thoughts. This is what Chris had to say about the defeat to Fulham at St Andrews on Saturday. So, Chris, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure.
It was a bit of a disappointing performance on Saturday. I think that, we've got such I wouldn't say a perfect home record, but a pretty strong home record in the Championship. And obviously there was no shame in going down to Fulham, but obviously I wanted to get your thoughts on the game. So the first half, we started okay, again like Cardiff. Do you think that we could have been ahead at half time?
I think if we were ahead at half time, I always try and look at it from the opposition as well and think what would they have been thinking at certain points and things like that. And I think if we'd have been ahead at half time, I don't think Fulham would have had too many complaints. I think the first half was almost split straight down the middle, half and half. Like the 20 to 25 minutes, you know, we were definitely the side that were on top. We were the side that settled quicker. Crowley had a shot which just went over the bar. I think that the one that stands out for me was where it just fell nicely to Marabti on the edge of the box, and he sort of just caressed it into the keeper's arms. I think that was a really good chance. But I think the key, you know, it seems it very often in football, and I think it has done in particular with Blues over the last couple of years. That first goal always seems so massive. Obviously, that wasn't the case at Cardiff, but you know, I think if we'd have taken the lead in that first 20-25 minutes, with the confidence that we've built up in home games recently over the last month or so, I think that, you know, it could have played out differently the whole game. But as I said, once 25 minutes sort of went by and Fulham settled into the game and they got a stranglehold, you know, I think they showed the side that they are. They've got Premier League quality players in their side. You know, all across the pitch. The players that were on the team sheet, you thought, that, you know, that they got quality all over the park here, and it showed. I think, especially towards the end of that first half and in the second half, you know, they passed the ball nicely, looked comfortable, looked calm, looked confident. And I think they're just outside the top six. So, you know, they're having a decent season. I think a few people, including myself, expected them to be right up there with the likes of Albion and Leeds. But if they keep playing like that, if they've got Mitrovic playing that way, then I don't think they'll be too far off come the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I think that if you look at obviously the Cardiff game, the Fulham game, they had in previous years, we had it last year, and I think it saved us a few games having that ruthless edge that we don't have this year. And I said the same to Mark. You know, is it time that we change the forward personnel? Obviously, you know, the standout is Duke, but obviously you've got Bellingham plays as the more advanced midfielder, Marabti, Villalba, Crowley. Is it time that we changed it up a little bit? Look to change maybe even the system and the personnel, because obviously it's not getting us the goals that we need to win games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the difficulty with that is you go to Cardiff and create, you know, 25 chances. I think it was, you know, that sort of law of averages says that at some point, if you keep creating 20 odd chances a game, at some point you're going to start battering someone 6 or 7-0. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, especially with the quality of individuals that we've got, Crowley and Villalba and Bellingham pushing forward as well. You know, there's no doubt in their technical ability, and it's frustrating because you know, I think a game like that, they've almost earned a game like that where we just completely dispatch someone. But, you know, they are having to work for it every game at the moment. They're having to work very hard. But I think Saturday was probably the first time I've looked at Duke this season. You know, obviously there are elements to his game that are more suited to the way we played last season than this season, should we say? If we're trying to be kind to him.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think Saturday was the first time I looked at him this season and thought you could probably do with a rest. As it is now, we've got the international break, so he sort of gets that rest anyway. You know, along with everybody else. So I think if it was me, for me, looking ahead to the Huddersfield game, I think if everybody has a good break, you know, and they look sharp in training next week in the build-up to the Huddersfield game, I don't think I'd change much straight away. Purely because of the fact that we are still creating chances. You know, 2 defeats from the last 2 games, but the style, the ethos has still allowed us to create those chances. But yeah, I think obviously in time, if the story is very similar over the course of 7 or 8 games rather than 2 or 3 games, then I think probably need to start to have a little tinker around, not a wholesale change, but, you know, just a tinker of maybe systems, you know, a formation here, there, and, you know, just to try and get, as you say, the the right people in the right position at the right time, which, you know, unfortunately at the moment we're not quite finding.
No, I agree. And obviously, just touching on the final point, probably the main talking point from Saturday.
What might that be?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty bad mistake from camp. I think that, you know, watching it in live time, I was furious, and
yeah,
watching it back, you know, I got out and I thought maybe it wasn't. It maybe he was fouled, and then I saw the replays and I was like, that's kind of, you can't really defend him. There's nothing you can say because you know, even, you know, Roberts was fouled and clearly he's appealing for that foul, but
yes,
he's got no excuses. If he's not touched, he should be catching that. Is it time to, again, we talk about changing Duke, is it time to change goalkeepers? I said the same to Mark. What do you think?
It's a really difficult one, isn't it? Because I think, you know, obviously the fact you've got 4 keepers doesn't help. It's not like you've just got one other keeper who is out of favour or hasn't played for a long time. You've got 4 to choose from now. You know, and the pressure is definitely on Camp. I think, you know, every mistake that he makes now, there's going to be more and more people turning on him and calling for one of the other 3 keepers to get a chance, because, you know, as much as I want to sit here and defend Camp, you know, because I think on paper he is probably our best goalkeeper. Yeah. And I think obviously he is well liked in the squad, but obviously that changes as well. You know, the squad keep working hard and, you know, fighting their way to pick up points, and then they lose a game because of you know, a really basic error, as you say. I think the only thing I can give him is just the pure presence of Mitrovic has panicked him. I don't know whether he thinks Mitrovic is just going to come in and absolutely crush him. Yeah. And he's taken his eye off that and tried to have a quick look over his shoulder at Mitrovic. But again, it's you know, you said it yourself. You cannot defend the mistake. I think perhaps, you know, that, you know, as I say, every mistake that goes by, it's getting more and more difficult to justify saying he is the only option, because, as I said, 4 goalkeepers in the squad, he is, you know, by numbers alone, he is not the only option. And if he keeps costing us points, then it does become more and more difficult for him. I'd play him against Huddersfield. You know, you obviously want to give as much back into your goalkeeper as possible, but I think he knows, you know, he ain't stupid. He's been in football long enough. He knows the pressure's on him. He knows the crowd are getting on his back with every mistake. I think, yeah, I'd go with him against Huddersfield, but he is walking the tightest of tight ropes now. Yeah, no, absolutely. Chris, thank you so much. Pleasure. And we'll catch you after the international break. Will do. Cheers, James. Thanks, Chris. So, guys, that just about wraps it up from us for the BFTV review. Emily, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And don't forget to follow us on all forms of social media, on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter, if you haven't already, for all of those giveaways, all of the updates, and to leave your thoughts in the comments on all social media platforms. Thank you guys for getting involved this week. There was lots of comments, lots of good opinions this week, and obviously we hope that yours got included this week on the episode. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already, and that will just about do it for us. You will get a podcast next week through the international break, because we know that you don't want to miss out on any content, so we will provide some for you, and we will see you for the Huddersfield Town preview in 2 weeks' time, guys. Keep right on.
Keep right on.